Welcome back to RamZland. Today I want to show you how to master the water balloon in a flask challenge. Check this out. All I'm using for my balloon challenge is a lighter. This is a 2,000 milliliter flask, some filter paper, and a 12-inch latex balloon. The first step is to fill your balloon with a little bit of water so it's about the size of an egg. Then your balloon should rest on the top of your flask so it's just barely larger than the diameter of the mouth. Now you're going to take your filter paper or any paper, fold in half, light the end of it, and while it's burning you're going to put it in the flask and cover it with the balloon. And check out what happens. Watch the balloon. It went into the flask. Did you see that? Just amazing. Look at that. So you might be thinking, well, what would happen if I used a larger balloon? Well, I would recommend that you don't try that, because when you put a larger water balloon on the neck of a flask, especially if it's 2 or 3 times larger than the diameter of the neck of the flask, atmospheric pressure on the outside of the balloon pushes down on it. And if the balloon isn't able to fit down the flask, then that 14.7 pounds of atmospheric pressure per square inch at sea level is going to put enough pressure on the flask to potentially break the flask. And you'll have a big mess on your hands. So let's talk about how this really works. When you light that paper on fire, the air inside the flask heats up. And when you put the balloon on top, the minute that fire goes out, the air starts to cool. And when air cools, it contracts. And that creates less pressure inside the flask, while you have 14.7 pounds of atmospheric pressure outside the flask pushing on the balloon. And so with less pressure inside and greater pressure on the outside, atmospheric pressure pushes the balloon into the flask. And that's how the balloon and flask challenge works. I hope you enjoyed today's edition of RamZland, and I'll see you next time. If you enjoyed this presentation, be sure to remember to like and subscribe.